Well, we're here with Jonathan Warburton, obviously Chairman of Warburton's Family Bakers. Great to have you with PPMA TV, Jonathan. Obviously keen to ask you a couple of questions. You've just done your keynote speech. Just in relation to the Warburton's business, and particularly in the current financial climate, I mean, have you had to change your business model at all?
That's a good starting question. Have we had to change the business model? I think we are looking at it on an ongoing basis. So I'm a great believer is, what's got you here won't necessarily get you there. So if you aren't constantly reinventing yourselves and looking for ways of improving, you can never stand still because the market's moving around you. So I think what we're looking to do is certainly continuing to invest in the business. Inevitably, automation is a key part of that, but not for the sake of doing it for the sake of doing it. Where we think it adds value, we'll continue to look at that. But I think it's something that we've evolved and continue to evolve. It's a state of mind as much as a conscious effort on the 1st of January, 2016, we're going to start being different. I think it's something we look at all the time, and sometimes we're better at it than others.
Now, one of the things about your keynote speech, of course, is about business the long-term sustainability, and in particular, family values. I mean, how has that been sort of for you over the years? Has that proved a real sort of key part in terms of the business success?
Yeah, I mean, I think without repeating what I said previously, I think what it is about family values is we, as a family business, our family values, the Warburton family values, are very simple and straightforward. And when we were looking to generate some visible values for the business, we kept coming back to, well, what do I consider important? And I think it will be the same if I ask you to write down now what your family, your personal values are. I bet there wouldn't be a million miles. And so you're going to go, well, why don't we just stick with that? And I think that the core values of care and ambition and trust and responsibility that you would have personally. So when you come to work for us, and if as long as we're true, then it's a very easy place for you to adapt to, providing you like that as an environment.
I mean, how much, as a business, how much would you say is driven by strategy, and how much is actually driven by engagement?
I think both are complementary. So we clearly have a strategy. Our strategy is about being Britain's best food business. We want to do that by being the best bakery business, and that's baking in its broadest sense. So the strategy is continue to develop high quality, everyday branded products. But you can't do that without engaging and getting everybody on board and understanding. If your strategy is so clever nobody understands it, then quite frankly it's useless. It might look good on your reception wall, but if somebody walks in and scratches his head and goes, well, what does that mean? Then it's clearly no good. So our strategy is very simple and straightforward, and hopefully people get to understand that. So I think it's a complement of both things.
Now, one of the things you just mentioned a couple of minutes ago was about automation, and I know that you've semi-automated some of your product lines, or your production lines, should I say. Do you think you'll ever go to being fully automated?
I think that if you'd have asked me 10 years ago, could you be as automated as you are now, I'd have probably said no. But we've constantly, bakery, wrapped and sliced bakery in the UK is incredibly good value. You can't drive that value without automation. And I think we look to automate where we can get a competitive advantage, and we look to have the personal touch where we can't. So, I mean, we have as many people, if not more people, in distribution than we do in manufacturing. So clearly there's a rich vein potentially for in our distribution arm. But of course somebody's got to drive the truck. Now, driverless trucks, we'll see. So I think we're open-minded. I don't think we have a strategy to drive bodies out of the process, but certainly we're not going to be Luddites who go over our dead bodies where we have the latest robot. When you look, I mean, our pick-and-place packaging that we have in place with the robots, they're mesmerizing. You almost go in there and go, it's got to get it wrong, it's got to get it wrong. And it never does, and it's just brilliant. So, and also there is the health and safety angle. you know, we've had two very unfortunate incidents in the organisation where the HSE executive, health and safety executive, we got fined as a business for things that we had trained people not to do it. If it means that by automation it removes the potential of an accident to health and safety, then I would be very keen to pursue it.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, clearly as a business you started off as an SME. Clearly you've grown a lot since then. I mean, what advice would you give to a business that is just starting out now? I mean, is there anything they should particularly focus on in line with what you said with your keynote speech earlier?
For me, find a uniqueness and ruthlessly stick to it, while constantly checking that it's relevant to your customers. So there's no point in being weirdly unique and nobody likes it. Well, you said be unique. Well, yeah, of course, I really passionately believe that. But to be unique, you have to have a unique proposition that consumers, customers, or whoever your target market is finds appealing. So I think if you do what everybody else does, you'll get what you've always got, and ultimately it becomes just a lowest cost producer argument. And frankly, that's not our game. What I want to be is a lowest cost producer that has a unique proposition, and consumers can get that very easily.
Just one last quick question for you, Jonathan. I mean, a lot of companies talk about visions and they talk about values, and clearly your business is underpinned by a real, strong set of values. Just how, where do companies sort of go right and go wrong in that area? Because is it a case that actually some companies will put these visions and values on the walls and really do not simply live and breathe by them? Would you say that's sort of common to a lot of businesses?
I mean, it's difficult to comment about other people, but I've been in businesses where they've had a set of values, on a perspex screen and all very arty and fancy, and often left thinking, well, it looks great, but actually, do you really deliver? And I think where they're powerful, where they work, they're very powerful when they're good. I think doing it for the sake of the fact somebody says we've got to have a set of values, it's never going to work. You'll get found out. So I think if it's a truth, you're fine. If it's not a truth, you've had it, because the worst reputation is, you say you've got a set of values. Well, I can tell you, I've worked there and they don't. Occasionally you'll get disgruntled people writing in and saying, you say this about your values. But it's very, very rare. I think most of the people, most of the time, have to simply get it. So they're not spending all the time going, well, they said they'd be good at this. It's common sense, it's just not very common.
It's great advice for any business that's here, and it's great that you could join us on PPMA TV, Jonathan, so thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Okay.